How to crochet Love is in the Air shawl. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this unbelievably gorgeous shawl. We're going to do it in 2 steps. It's a 2 hank project using Be So Sporty. This is Sporty Cakes, the self-striping 4-color version of Be So Sporty. You're going to need 2 hanks of this yarn to make the shawl. In the first section, we're going to crochet one side, 1 triangle, and then in the second section, I'm going to show you how to make the second triangle and how to join them together as we go. It's a lot simpler than it looks. It's a really fun project, easy to memorize stitch pattern, so it's great to take on the road if you're traveling or going to a social crocheting event. Let's get started. I'm going to do the 2 triangles with 2 contrasting colors of Be So Sporty yarn. This is Lilac Memories and this is Pink Damask. We're going to start the first triangle with tying our yarn onto our crochet hook. Please use whichever method you prefer. You can use a slip knot, a solid knot, whatever works best for you. And we'll start with a chain 8. And then we're going to work 5 double crochets in the 8th chain from our hook. You don't count the loop that's on your hook, so you start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're going to work 5 double crochets in that chain. So we're going to yarn over our hook, insert our hook in the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 double crochet. Yarn over our hook, insert our hook in the same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 2 double crochets in that same chain. We want a total of 5 double crochets in that same chain. Okay, row 1 is complete. Chain 8 and 5 double crochets in the 8th chain from your ring. Row 1 is complete. Chain 8 and 5 double crochets in the 8th chain from your hook. For row 2, we're going to chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet. And we're going to work 4 double crochets in that very same first stitch. Okay, we're now going to skip the next stitch and single crochet in the next one. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook. Single crochet is complete. Then we're going to skip the next stitch and 5 double crochets in the last stitch. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the specified stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we'll do 4 more stitches in that same 4 more double crochets in that same stitch. Okay, row 2 is complete. Chain 3, which counted as our first double crochet, 4 double crochets in the same first stitch, skip a stitch, single crochet in the next, skip a stitch, and 5 double crochets in the last stitch. Row 3 begins with a chain 7. And we're going to work 5 double crochets in the first stitch. Okay, we're going to skip the next stitch and single crochet in the next. Skip the next 2 stitches – and then in the next single crochet we're going to work 5 double crochets. We're going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 1 stitch, and in the last stitch, which is a chain 3, so we're going to work into the top chain of that chain 3, we're going to work 5 double crochets in that last stitch. Okay, row 3 is complete. We started with a chain 7, 5 double crochets in the first stitch, and then we skipped a stitch, single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, skip 1 stitch, and 5 double crochets in the last. We're now ready to begin row 4. Chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and work 4 double crochets in the same stitch. Skip 1 stitch and single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches and 5 double crochets in the next stitch. That stitch is a single crochet. Skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches and 5 double crochets in the next. Skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 1 stitch and 5 double crochets in the last stitch. Okay, and that's what the end of row 4 should look like. Row 5 begins with a chain 7. And we're going to work 5 double crochets into the very first stitch. Skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next. Skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next. Skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next. Skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next. Skip 1 stitch and 5 double crochets in the last stitch. Okay, our pattern is now established for the rest of this triangle. I'm going to set our work down so I can show you as I explain what the pattern is that's established. So basically on every odd numbered row, we're going to start with a chain 7, which gives us this loop, and then we're going to work 5 double crochets into the center of each, we're going to work a single crochet into the center of each of the 5 double crochet sections, and we're going to work 5 double crochets into each of the single crochets in the row below. At the beginning, we're going to add 5 double crochets at the beginning and end of the row. Then on every even side row, we're going to start with 5 double crochets in the first stitch, and we're going to alternate putting single crochets into the tops or centers of the 5 double crochet sections and working 5 double crochets in each single crochet across. So as you grow this shawl, the last 2 rows that we did are what we'll be repeating all along, except we'll be doing more repeats in the center of each row. What you want to do is just continue this on, following along with the pattern. That's a free download on my website. The link is in the video description. So for the first triangle, you're just going to repeat these last 2 rows until you reach the size that you want, or you finish one of the sporty cakes. In the next section of the video, I'll show you how to start the second triangle and how we join it as you go to the first triangle. Okay, we're going to tie our second color of yarn onto our crochet hook for the second triangle. Now if you're using sporty cakes, you're going to have yarn that self-stripes and changes color as you go. Or if you're using a solid color yarn, you could do both triangles the same color, or you could do a contrast like I'm doing and change the color completely. I'm going to use a second color just so you can see what part is which as we're going along. So the second triangle starts with a chain 4. And we're going to slip stitch into the first chain 7 space on the first triangle, which would be part of row 1. So we're going to slip stitch right into that space, and then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to come back around and work 5 double crochets into the first chain. Okay, so row 1 is now complete on the second side of the shawl. And you see it's pretty much identical to row 1 of the first triangle, except instead of a chain 7 space, we have a chain 3 slip stitch, chain 3 instead, so that it can be joined to the opposite side's chain 7 space. Okay, row 2 begins with a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. And we're going to work 4 more double crochets in that first stitch. We're going to skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next, skip 1 stitch, and work 5 double crochets into the last stitch at the end of the row. Okay, it's only the odd number rows that we'll be joining to the other triangle, because it's the only time that we'll have, let's see, we'll do it this way. So it's the only time that we'll be facing the chain 7 spaces. So row 2 ends exactly like that. And we're getting ready to start row 3, which is where we'll be joining to the next chain 7 space on the previous triangle as well. So we'll start with a chain 3. Slip stitch into the next chain 7 space on the first triangle, chain 3, and then we'll come back now and work 5 double crochets in that first double crochet. Skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches and 5 double crochets in the next. Other than changing the chain 7 space at the beginning of the row and changing it to a chain 3 slip stitch, chain 3, the rest of the rows of the second triangle are absolutely identical to the rows of the first triangle. So we'll skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, skip 1 stitch, and work 5 double crochets in the last stitch. Okay, and row 3 is completed and we're joined to the other triangle. We'll start row 4 with a chain 3. That counts as our first double crochet. 4 more double crochets in the first stitch. Skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches and 5 double crochets in the next. Skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next. Skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next. Skip 1 stitch and 5 double crochets in the last stitch. And we'll set it down so you can see what it looks like. Okay, we're ready to begin the next row, and we're going to be joining to the chain 7 space on the other triangle with a chain 3, slip stitch into the chain 7 space, chain 3, and then work 5 double crochets in the first stitch, skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochets in the next, skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next, skip 1 stitch and 5 double crochets in the last stitch. Okay, if you want the 2 triangles to be joined all the way down, you're going to follow the last 2 rows and just repeat them as you go along. If you want the shawl to be split tail at the bottom, like in mine, just refer to the line by line instructions and it'll tell you how many rows to join side by side like this, and then how many rows to leave it open with chain 7 spaces on the odd numbered rows. So if you want information on how to download the free pattern or to order Be So Sporty yarn, visit the links inside the video description box below. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos.